Welcome back to a new season of the Middle Order Cricket Podcast. I am joined by Khizar Ali, Qasim, Ahmed, Azam Iqbal, who stepped in last minute for Izzy Hussain, who we might yet see. We are in the middle of the T20 World Cup and have to talk about Pakistan's amazing journey so far. Where else could we possibly start other than the big game between Pakistan and India? Khizar, let me start with you. How does it feel to finally have that Indian World Cup monkey off your back?
It's something I didn't think I would see in my lifetime. I've spoken about this to people I've watched cricket with for the last 30 years, and it was something I did not think we would see. To the extent that now, when Pakistan play India in the World Cup, my kids and my wife aren't allowed in the house. I watch it on my own in a room by myself, and yeah, it is it's a relief. It's not. I can't say it genuinely feels like a relief now to get that off.
Qasim, we're going to talk specifics shortly, but give me your overall sort of feelings before the match and after the match. What were you feeling?
Before the match, probably similar to Khizar. Expectations were fairly low. I think that's the best way to keep it with Pakistan sometimes, especially in big games. I mean, in terms of, as Khizr says, monkey off the back, 29 years in waiting. I think I'm from that generation who got to first watch that 2007 episode in which we lost to India twice. I believe, was it in twice? The Super Over, and then the final, of course, with the famous Misbah paddle sweep over his shoulder, which actually landed in somebody's hands instead of over the boundary line, as it should have. But yeah, absolutely ecstatic, to finally have witnessed us beating India in a World Cup game about bloody time.
Azam, in your wildest dream, did you ever expect a demolition job like this?
I didn't expect that win, never mind a demolition job. And just looking at that batting lineup, is a very scary batting lineup on paper. So, like these guys, I was kind of elated, but yeah, mixed emotions, kind of relieved as well. And that's kind of done and over with, because we did beat them in the Champions Trophy, but obviously a World Cup is something else entirely.
Yeah, let's hope we're not talking about this streak again. Let's pick out some of the key performances in the match. Obviously, we can't start anywhere else other than Shaheen Shah Afridi's opening spell, because the wickets of Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, and later obviously Virat Kohli. Can you talk us through those first two wickets though, and just how good that bowling was?
First over, look back at everything else. We weren't going to the plan of opening with Ahmed and having him bowl his non-spinners, darted in at the stump. They knew what they wanted. Indians feared it, and there was genuine fear because it's happened so much in the recent past. We've really gone out there and attacked their top order. We've dismantled them on a number of occasions with this game plan, which is we're going to go out, we're going to swing it back in, we're going to attack those pads, we're going to attack those stumps. For the odd one that goes across, like the one Kohli got, Champions Trophy, you get that. You got to play for the one coming in, but it's all out attack. It's up there in what they call the slot, where they should be whacking it over, or somebody like Butler could potentially get under and smack it all over the park. But it doesn't matter. They went out to attack, and that's what was key. That first ball swinging in, Rohit Sharma made a bit of space, front leg out of the way for a change rather. He didn't want to be hit on the front pad. Still couldn't react in time. But that second wicket was something special. It really was. The length, the pace, the swing, the seam movement, everything. There was no answer. The batsman went out, attacked the ball, came down the pitch towards it, weight going forward. But they were really, really special balls.
Qasim, is that spell of bowling and those wickets in particular as good as the ones we've seen from Asif in the Champions Trophy and maybe even Wasim Akram in the World Cup of '92, considering who Wasim was bowling to?
It's funny you should mention Asif because he's probably one of my all-time favourite bowlers, especially when he used to get the ball to move back in and hit the wicket. In terms of what Shaheen was doing, was exceptional, and the pace at which he was doing that is phenomenal. I mean, for such a young guy to be doing what he's doing at such a young age, I don't personally watch the IPL, but from what the commentators are saying, KL Rahul's come into this tournament on a high with lots of runs behind him. Didn't look like a guy who had faced anything like that in his life. Never mind in the IPL. One thing I would like to say is maybe Pakistan have a slight advantage in that the IPL players have not faced the Pakistan Pacers, and that's maybe worked in our advantage as well. We had the swing at the start of the game. It was absolutely ideal. It couldn't have been any better, especially that second wicket. It was just
perfection, I think.
Perfection, yeah.
Yeah, Azam, let's talk a little bit about the supporting bowlers, particularly Haris Rauf, who bowled 4 overs, 1 wicket for 25, an economy of 6.25. Did we see Haris Rauf finally deliver in this match? He's been criticised a lot, but he seems to have added a few new weapons to his armoury.
I think death bowling, he was always okay. I think when he came on during that middle period, he was kind of confused in regards to what length he wanted to bowl. Some were up full, some were kind of short, and I don't think he had a clear game plan. Whereas now he seems to be kind of running in, hitting the wicket hard, back of a length, rushing the batsman a wee bit. So I think he's got a clear game plan now in place, and we're kind of seeing the benefits of that.
And Qasim, because we seem to see a lot of change of pace from him as well.
The commentators were talking about, he's an out-and-out fast bowler, doesn't really have a slower ball. But if you look back at the season that really got him recognised globally was the BBL. And it was the change of pace. He bowls the slower balls. He bowls the slower bouncers. He's got the pace, and it's that mix up at the death. He is, all Pakistani bowlers are always going to be Yorker bowlers. But this guy did mix it up from then. The problem he had was maybe he was doing it a bit too much after that when he was getting criticised and he was lacking control. You're always going to go through. You're not always going to get it right as a death bowler. The batsmen have got nothing to lose. They're going to be swinging from the hip. Sometimes you're going to go for runs. So he did a lot more after that game, but up until that game, yeah, he definitely kind of okay. We've got a bit of support there, even from the likes of Shadab as well. Who showed signs of maybe what we're looking for, which is maintaining the pressure or keeping the runs down. And I think the hardest thing Babar's got now is how to use all of these people, how to get the most out of them. Do we use Ahmed for more overs? Do we use Hafiz? Malik, we've not seen. There's options there, but there is going to come a time when, people are going to be called upon to do something that will make the captain change his plan. Like when Shaheen was bowling well, they kept him on for a third over. If you're going to do that, the captain's not only thinking about, am I going to give this guy another over? They've got to think about, well, who's going to do what he was going to do at the end? Do we have the confidence in Hasan Ali or, to support Rauf because Shaheen's bowled 3 of his overs at the top?
I think he's never lacked skill, by the way. The guy has never lacked skill. He knows his game. I think what he's lacked in the past is his attitude, and you'll notice just from his physique, he looks fit. And I think because it's a big occasion, you tend to find some Pakistani players react to the big occasion, and I think he's reacted to it. He's wanted to come to the party and say, I can bowl fast, I can bowl with skill, and I'm going to be fit to do it this time around.
The fastest bowler in the tournament, and there's some serious names going around, and he's the quickest of them.
No doubt.
Azam, despite 16 overs of really good bowling, we still managed to concede 151 runs, which are you a bit surprised by that? And maybe are you not so surprised that it was Hasan Ali that gave away, almost 40 odd runs in his 4 overs?
No, actually, I wasn't too surprised that they got up to 150 because I think they only needed like one partnership. And Plant came in, he kind of swung the bat, got a quick 30 runs or so. I was kind of towards the last 5-6 overs, I was kind of expecting them to maybe even get a wee bit more, but the wickets slowed down the momentum, and Kohli couldn't really go at the rate he really wanted to due to them losing momentum. And Hasan Ali, I think he's going through a bit of that Haris Rauf stage, whereas we know he can deliver. He's got the skill set. He's done it before, but I think once you go after him, he loses that confidence, he loses the radar, and he tends to kind of leak runs. That's 2 or 3 games that's happened to him. And I think if I was in the opposition camp, I'd be saying, look, he's the one bowler we can really target, we can really put under pressure. So going forward, I don't agree with a lot of the guys, whereas they're saying, oh, look, it's big games coming up, you need his experience. I think the other guys in the squad, you've selected them for a reason. They're there because they're good enough. So let's put them in and let's see what happens. If they need to kind of rejig it around and in regards to how he uses his bowlers, then I think that's something he should kind of go ahead and do, because we have the options to do that. But if a bowler's lost confidence, you shouldn't carry on playing them, especially in a big tournament like this.
Qasim, let's move on to where Pakistan really excelled, and that was the second innings when they got out to bat. Rizwan and Babar, I mean, just how good were they on the day? I mean, in total, let's put this into perspective, they're averaging 59 as a partnership in T20s. That's the highest of any openers in T20 history of all those partners that have played more than 10 games. That's a stunning record, no?
It's absolutely brilliant to have them 2 opening for us. I mean, how long has it been, guys, since we watched Pakistan batsmen go in to open, and we felt, okay, I think we're going to put some runs on the board before somebody gets out. Usually it's 2 for 2, 4 for 2, 5 for 2, 10 for 2. And the fact that they actually kind of yin and yang in terms of one guy is full of energy and the other is so cool, calm, and collected. They really do complement each other so well. So I knew in terms of the India game, that was the one that was going to break us or make us. And boy, did they make us. And it was probably the first time I watched Pakistan bat through entire innings without any kind of heart attacks. So it was amazing to see them to see out the entire game. What a way to do it.
Azam, what do you think it is that makes these two work so well together? Do you think Rizwan's sort of fast start and energy that Qasim talked about really helps Babar just settle into the innings and sort of catch up later on?
Yeah, I think he's a very busy player. I think Rizwan still plays proper cricket shots, but he brings a lot of energy to the crease. He's always looking for that run. He seems to be someone that doesn't get flustered too easily. So if he does get bowled a good ball, he can put it out of his mind. And I think he's got just a positive effect on Babar just because of his mindset, his approach. I think that video, I think everyone's seen him going out there visualizing, and then to go out there and execute, that's pretty nuts. I think every shot he practiced came off. So I think he complements him really well, allows Babar to get in, get set, and just kind of anchor the innings.
Because what did you enjoy so much about how they went about the job?
They bring a sense of calm. We've got these 2 guys going out. Everyone in that team knows their role, and these 2 are the best at what they do. This is the difference between us and India. India weren't sure of the batting order. India weren't sure of their selection. India weren't sure of how to use the players. Potentially with a better team, I wanted to kind of say this at the start, but I grew up watching Pakistan in the 90s and the noughties when we had a better team than India, overall better record, but we could not beat them in a World Cup. Now the tables have turned. You've got India with easily a better team, but maybe it's that pressure, maybe because we were the better team in the 90s and the noughties, it was that pressure of expectation that was on Pakistan and it wasn't happening. And that pressure is now on India. You've got Pandya before the World Cup making a statement that we could put out our next 2 teams and they would be able to win world competitions, meaning their B and C side could win them. Fair enough, you might have that depth and that talent, but maybe it's that pressure of expectation. You've got somebody like Rohit Sharma who cannot buy a run in these situations against Pakistan and he knows what's coming. He knows they're going to swing the ball back in to my pads, they're going to attack the pads, they're going to attack the stumps. Everyone knows what is expected of them. They're a better team, yet they can't. To me, it reminds me of how Pakistan felt in the 90s and the noughties.
Izzy, thanks very much for joining us. I know you've been travelling, so thank you.
It looks like he was travelling on the North Pole.
We've talked
Thanks
a lot.
For having me. Apologies for running late.
No, not at all. We've talked a lot about the main performances. We talked about Shaheen Shah Afridi, Haris Rauf, the spinners, and obviously the openers. What really stood out to you about the performance against India this time round?
They've just stuck together. The other thing, other than the individual performances, it seems like it's an actual team. Sometimes we've lacked that in the past, so I feel as if on this occasion, with the games, not just the India game, just across the board, it just seems like they're playing as a team and they seem to know their own roles. Again, we might have a few superstars in that team and potentially a few world beaters, maybe one or two already in there, but on paper, it's a team that's going to get better. But for me, it's a case of just, it seems like it's an actual team. They're playing together. They know their roles. They know exactly what's required when obviously their time's up within the game.
We're almost out of time, gents. So let's just have some final thoughts from everybody. Qasim, I'll have you start, please. Just, what you're feeling after that match. How are you thinking Pakistan were going to progress there onwards?
Well, Pakistan's left me a little bit confused because at this point of our tournament, I'm usually sitting here thinking, right, we've got to win the last 3 games and we might scrape through, and then hopefully in the next stage we'll get somebody and we might scrape that and maybe get to the final and we'll win it. But right now I'm sitting here thinking, well, we won all three of our games. We've beaten some really good teams. How are we going to do against the next big team that we come across, given that we're about to face Namibia and Scotland in our next 2 opponents? But long may it continue, long may we go to the final and win it. With Pakistan, you just never know.
Azam, what are you thinking about this Pakistan team now versus what you thought at the beginning of the tournament?
I thought before they could get to the knockouts, but like Qasim said, it could be a hit or miss, and we could be struggling towards the latter stages of the group. But now they should just take it one game at a time, and I think they will. Listening to the coaches speak, listening to Hayden speak, Vernon speak, they're looking to keep them really grounded and just making sure that, okay, we've beat India, we beat New Zealand, now we just focus on the next game, which is good to see.
Izzy, your thoughts on how Pakistan are going to fare, and also just give me an opinion on the work that Hayden and Philander have done behind the scenes potentially.
Yeah. Firstly, so the 2 coaches, again, as mentioned, haven't been there for long, but they obviously both bring a wealth of experience. Specifically, Matthew Hayden, obviously, what is he, a 3-time World Cup winner? Surely what he is going to bring, regardless of time around players, regardless of who those players are, surely he's going to bring a wealth of experience. And then Philander's obviously someone who's played at the highest level. He may have not played as much limited overs cricket, but they're obviously 2 blokes who are vastly experienced. So, if those guys listen, they'll learn a thing or two. And secondly, in terms of my expectations, before the start of the tournament, I would have thought, at least a semi-final, because I do genuinely feel the team is good enough to be in the top 4. With the way the tournament's gone, I didn't have any reservations. I thought Pakistan would do well in the first 3 big games. Historically, teams are going to win competitions. They probably lose a game here or there. So if they had gotten beat by New Zealand or Afghanistan, it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. It kind of brings them back down to earth, so to speak. But it seems like they're doing that anyway themselves. They know where they're at.
Yeah. Khizar, how positive are you about this Pakistan team? And secondly, have you any words for our Indian friends and viewers?
On the India point, I actually feel for them. I've been there. I know what it's like. And right now, I know what it's like to go through what they've gone through. But the amount of shit that they gave us.
Yeah.
That Mokka guys lighting his fireworks that day, letting them sparklers go. That's what we needed. We needed to get that done. It's done. I hope they shut up. And I hope that we can play them a lot more like we should be doing. But they needed to be put in their place. They needed to be shut up. And this team, it's not a flashy team. Even though we've got quick bowlers who swing it, they've not got long flowing hair or earrings or big medallions around their neck. At the end of that game, Babar in the changing room said to them, enjoy the win, but that's it. The job's not done. We're here to win a World Cup.
Thank you very much for your time. We're going to continue this journey of Pakistan through the T20 World Cup with a look at the New Zealand game and Afghanistan later on this week. We will maybe even touch base on the Scotland and Namibia games when they come, and look forward to a semi-final against England and or whoever it may be.
No,
But
not England in the semis. England in the final.
South Africa.
Okay, Izzy's got his colours on already for Pakistan and South
I'll
Africa.
take them. They can't win a semi-final for shit. So I'll take them all day long.
Okay, well, let's all look forward to it, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you all soon.